Welcome along, everybody. I make it the top of the hour, so I think we'll make a start there. Welcome to some of the names that I recognise that have joined in to the webcast here. Hi to all of you. My voice might be a bit croaky at the moment, so I apologise for that. And also, if the audio sort of stops briefly for a few seconds, that'll just be me clearing my throat. So just bear with me for that if you would. So Civil 3D 2023, actually 0.1 has come out now. So we're going to be looking at that in changes that are associated with that, plus the 2023.0 as well. For those who haven't caught up with the change, we are now Vin0 A2K, which means we're part of the Vin0 group of companies, which gives us much greater depth of offerings we can bring to our customers. But we're still the same A2K throughout New Zealand and Australia. And we've become, as you know, and for many of you as well, a trusted technology advisor for this part of the world. As you can see now with Vin0, we've got 550 employees, 32 offices over the globe now, and lots of languages that obviously entails as well. And there's a bit of a list of the types of services we can now provide. For those who haven't met me before, I've been doing this job both teaching and supporting the Autodesk civil products for about 16 years now. Worked as a structural engineer and a civil roading engineer. So we are going to be looking at Civil 3D 2023.1 to begin with. I did do previously a webcast which is up on YouTube on Civil 3D 2023.0. So I'm going to look at, first of all, at the changes, or new things that have been brought in 0.1, so that those of you who have seen the previous webcast can watch the first part of this one, and then you don't have to watch the rest. You will have covered that already. But obviously anybody that has not seen the previous webcast may choose to stay and watch the remainder, which I'll be covering over the same topics as what I did previously. So in 2023.1, there has been some changes to the sheet set manager that is on the web-based or BIM Autodesk system. That's now called Autodesk Construction Cloud, I believe. But that's what used to be called BIM 360, where you can store all your drawings up online, as well as your whole project, in fact, up online on a cloud-based system. And there's now a sheet set manager built into that, and there have been changes to that further in the last few months. And so we'll have a look at those as they relate to Civil 3D. Then we'll look a little bit about into the update, or one particular update to the ANZ country kit. And that will pretty much cover off the major changes to 2023.1. Then we'll get into the other bits and pieces that I've covered already, which are the pressure pipes improvements, corridor targets and corridor solids improvements, some changes to Project Explorer, again, improvements, grading optimization. There's been some small changes there, and a couple of other small changes as well we just mentioned as we go through. The same as all of the other webcasts that I've done previously. If you've got questions, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A, which is part of this web meeting. And if I get time at the end, hopefully I will, I'll be able to answer those before we finish. All right, so let's take a little look, shall we? In Civil 3D, the first thing I want to look at is the 2023.1 changes to the web sheet set manager. So I've previously had my sheet set open here. Now, you can also open it from up here in the quick access toolbar in the start page to open from web and mobile. But if you can also do it here, if you had it open previously, you can see it's saved on the cloud project system on Autodesk Docs by this little symbol. But if I want to open it, I can open it directly from my start page here as part of my recent documents. And what it looks like is this. Just give it a second to come up. She comes. All right. So this is the cloud or web-based sheet set manager. Now this was created in the process of using Civil 3D to create my cross sections so that you can see all my section sheets. This is a cut down version of the full sheet set manager that would be a network-based, excuse me, sheet set manager. It doesn't do everything that the other one does, but it does most of the normal things. To begin with, there's my sheet set that I've made. You've got down the bottom here of the properties, you've got your project name and your other custom sheet set properties that you can put your own custom fields in there. And it does all the page numbering and those sorts of things as well. And of course, when you go and have a look at one of these things, you can go and open your sheet or drawing directly from here. Now, the thing that it didn't do before is when you were using Civil 3D to make your cross sections, it couldn't actually access the storage location up in the cloud, the BIM storage location, or I should say Autodesk Construction Cloud storage location now. Now it does. This was actually created by a drawing that was already up there, and it created the sheet set up there as well. And the actual wizard for creating those cross sections allowed me to access it and create it directly. So that's the new part. Civil 3D now works 100% with that. So that's the good part. That's now all functional. When this was known as BIM 360, I don't think they even had sheet sets at all up there. So now that's all functional. While we've got this open though, this is open my drawing that's up on the cloud-based drawing. There's my model space. Now, you'll be familiar with the time it takes with a drawing with cross sections in to do a regen. So to open my model space there, it took a little while. They have been working on the regen time of the layouts, which is actually dramatic. So if I click on sheet 2 here, which I haven't yet opened yet, there it is. Sheet 3, there it is. So they've made huge improvements to that in terms of the speed of using a drawing that has cross sections in. The regen time's a little bit better, maybe about 25% better for a full regen, but the use of the switching through the layouts is much, much better. So that's actually a really big improvement as well. That was part of 2023.0. All right, so pretty straightforward, as I say, or as I haven't said yet. All of the changes in the new versions these days tend to be just incremental changes, not a massive number of huge things with every new release. At every 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 version, they put in a few more things, so it's not all in one hit these days. All right, so I'm just going to close that sheet set manager. I don't think there's anything else from that drawing I particularly want to look at. Oh, the other thing in my notes here, the opening times for cloud drawings with data shortcuts has been improved, and also from the web sheet set manager, plotting drawings with data shortcut surfaces has had improvements done as well, presumably to the speed of those. They weren't very specific about what the improvements were, but presumably it's the plotting speed. All right, so some good things in there. Let's switch back now to my other drawings. So obviously that was a cloud drawing. As you can see here, my cross-section drawing is stored up on the cloud. I'm going to change to one of my local drawings now. We want to look at some of the changes to the country kit, specifically with the pipes. Now, this is something I've been asking for many years, and they've put it in there now. Now, there is a couple of things you need to know for using it. Now, the thing that I wanted to get in was the removal of this pipe chainage band that has these question marks. So every time you make a pipe long section, you've got to tell all the structures on that long section to reference that alignment before the chainages work, which is a bit of a pain. There's a new pipe chainage band now. So let me show you how you put that in and how you use it. So I've just made a duplicate of the long section here. So I'm going to add it to this one. Now, really, I think probably, well, I would actually go and make my own band set that used the new chainage band, but let me just show you how the chainage band works. So if I go into the profile view properties here, and I can add now a new pipe band. It's not actually a pipe band. So there's our pipe data bands. It's actually a profile data band, and it's in here, ANZ chainage pipe alignment. If I add that in, it asks me what parts or what profile and alignment points I want to label. This is the bit you need to know. I don't want any profile points. I'm going to untick all of those. On the alignment points, and this is where it gets its chainage values from, is actually the alignment, not the pipes now, not the structures. So I would untick everything and I'd put in the alignment beginning and end. Where one pipe hits another, it's going to be a bend in the alignment, which can be tangent to tangent intersect. You could have curved pipes. You can curve pipes, gravity pipes in Civil 3D, which would be, don't want the curved midpoint, but I will want the tangent to curve, the curve to tangent, and could be the compound and reverse curves as well. There are no spirals in pipes, so I don't need any of those. It's the first 3 on, 1 off, then the next 4 on. I go okay and add it in. I'll just go okay there, and we'll see it's put it in. The chainage values are exactly where the structures are automatically, and they automatically working themselves out, even though there's no reference alignment in those structures. So I'm going to remove that and put this one in its place. So as per normal. Sorry, rule 1. Profile view properties. I can get rid of the old chainage band. I can get rid of this 12.5 mil gap. And I'll move it up to where I want it to be, underneath the cover. Make sure that your labels are still turned on, which looks like they are, and we'll go okay. And there is the new pipe chainage band without the question marks. Now, the nice thing about this is that when you've got a branch in your pipes, you could not previously have 2 different chainage numbers for the same structure. It had to be referencing one alignment or the other one. Now, this new chainage band will work itself out. And if that's the 0 chainage end of this alignment, that'll be 0 chainage shown in that long section and some intermediate chainage shown in that long section. So that all works. The only thing you need to know is when you add in another structure. So if I go and add another structure to this pipe room, so go and edit pipe network. Sorry, get my toolbar out of the way. There we go. I'm going to put in a manhole, 1050, shall we say. And, structures only, and I'm going to break into the pipe and put it in there. Okay, as soon as you do that, Civil 3D should, and it does, put that manhole or structure onto your long section, which is nice. However, what's not happening is this grey line is not showing, and it's not putting the chainage in either. You would normally have had to put in this grey line, so let's put that in. So what you have to do for that is put a, go and find my alignment here, here it is, an IP point on that alignment that matches up to the location of that structure. So in the geometry editor, put an IP point, I'm going to pop it off to the side here, and then snap the two together. Now, as soon as you do that, that's all you had to do in the old days, and it's still the same. It puts in your grey line that comes down through here and lines everything up, but it also, it also creates the chainage automatically as well. So as long as you're putting in these lines everywhere that where the structures are, you're going to get the chainage of each one automatically. That's why I've always wanted that chainage band. So hopefully, for many of you that find the old system annoying, this one's going to work for you better. Of course, you can then go into the profile view properties. Down the bottom, go save it as a band set, and that band, the automatic band, will be there forever and a day, permanently set up. All right. That's it on that one. Okay, consult my notes. Anything else I'm supposed to tell you about there? Oh, yes. One thing with the country kit I did find, for those who haven't loaded it already on 2023, for the first couple of times I started up Civil 3D after I loaded the 2023 country kit, it did open really slowly. But a couple of restarts and a couple of times of opening it, it went back to normal speed of opening. So it must have been loading something in the background, I'm not sure what. But for me, it's gone back to normal speed of opening Civil 3D now. Yeah, as I say, something in the background, not sure what. Okay. All right, so looking at other things, while we're on pipes, I guess, let's go and have a look at pressure pipes changes. So that's basically all I wanted to cover in 2023.1. Not a huge number of changes in there, but there's some hopefully useful things, useful improvements, things that have been on the list of updates for a while. Have been a couple of other changes to the ANZ country kit as well, just to make life a little bit easier. There's still a number that I'd still like to have changed, but they put in some of the ones I've asked for, which is nice. Okay, closing that drawing. Yep, save. Pressure pipes. So we're now looking at the 2023.0 additional functions now. So anybody that's already seen that webcast on 2023.0, yep, you're welcome to stay if you want to, but you certainly don't have to. Okay, let's go and have a look at the pressure pipes. Pressure pipes. Okay. So if you've seen any of my webcasts on pressure pipes, it showed me drafting polylines over the top of my pipes in order to make a drop down below a crossing pipe or something like that. You can now do that with a profile. So if I pick my long section, I'm going to change the vertical exaggeration here. 1 times, yes we have. Using the country kit again, but doesn't, do this in anything. I'm going to make myself my own profile in here for my drop down instead of having to draft some sort of polyline. So let's pick the long section, go up into the profile creation tools and the launch pad there. We'll call this the drop down set profile. Style, let's go reference planes 2%, which I think is a yellow line if I remember correctly. I don't really want lines to be, oh, maybe I do. Sorry, labels. Let's run with that. So now we can simply go and draft a profile. So I'm going to start along the top of the pipe. And I could drop that down. It's going to look pretty close to 45 degrees, hopefully. Bring it along, bring it back up. Oops. And actually, I actually could have used this, couldn't I? My toolbar for my, oops, lost it, there it is. I call it transparent commands toolbar. Could have used that to go and lay this out exactly. Probably would have been a good idea. But for now, let's just use what I've drafted here. And you can put this in as an override profile now for this pipe to follow. So if I pick my pressure pipes, now this is pressure pipes, not gravity pipes, go into the pipe run profile here. Now I've found this works best using the cut length offset style. Here's the profile that it's following by default as a profile below the ground level. If I go into the overrides tab here now, this used to allow you to just change the depth below the EG surface, basically, is what it used to do by putting in an override. Now you've got a new override, so you can go for a start station. Starts at the beginning of my profile. A end station that goes to the end, and this green band will show you where you're setting. The end of my, there it is there, profile. And I'll tell it to be follow a new reference alignment. This is the new bit. So it's going to, sorry, reference profile. So it's going to follow my drop down profile, and the distance will be 0 meters below that. And go okay. And you can see it's now done it. And so it should also be dynamic to that, I think. Let's try it. Yep, it is, as per the other profile that it was originally following, which you can still get. Pick that, drop that down, etc. Don't do that though. All right, so it will do that. And if you're needing, ideally you want to put a bend in here as well, I guess. So we can just use our tools to go and put a, we're up in here, add bend / PVI. And add it in. That's putting the bends in. If I've left enough space, that is. Yeah, not bad. I haven't quite drafted it nicely there. Not pretty close to that 45 degrees though. But of course, it's following the profile now, so I should be able to actually do that with it. See if about that. Yep. To square it up if I need to, if I haven't actually used the transparent commands to actually get nice distances and lengths. Okay, so just a little improvement there, but you can now tell it stop doing it 700 below the EG, follow this profile instead, and that's the new piece in 2023. What else have we got? Oh yes, another big thing in here, if you're using the, I did a webcast on this a while ago on the pressure pipes for the, where are we? For the ANZ country, well, sorry, it's not part of the country kit actually, the Australian standard and New Zealand standard pressure pipes. There is a webcast on that now. that I did probably it's a while ago now, probably about 10, 11 months ago or something like that, which gives us the Australian standard, and that's including New Zealand standard pipes and fittings catalogue for the pressure pipes. So we've now got a full catalogue of those. They're the catalogue actually converted from Plant 3D, which had 7,000 parts. Now we've got 7,000 parts in our pipe catalogue. So when I, and if you want that, there's a little email address you can write away to at the end of my pressure pipes webcast. So if up on YouTube, if you put in A2K pressure pipes, you'll find it. And we'll just send it out to you for you to use. However, with all those pipes and parts, they are, it can be quite a lot of sorting through to find the ones that you want. This one, I've got a cut down version of the pressure pipes. So I've just got some 150 diameter. So I cut down the parts list. I think I should be able to put in, change the parts list here so I can see all of them. So if I go into the pressure networks here, pipe runs, oh, that's my network there. Yeah, that's my parts list, was just restricted to the 150 diameter pipes. That's the PVC one. So let's have a look at that. Okay. So now we've got all of the PVC pressure pipes there in that particular parts list. I'm not going to load up the full parts list, but obviously it's going to give you 7,000 parts. The search field is here. It's actually a bit hard to find. Once you clicked on that to click the drop down, it says up the top here, search by keyword. So in here, I could put, say, 155, and it will just find my 155 pipes, 200. And it's sorting them on the name of the pipes. Okay, or if I wanted to, all the Rhino ones. And they'll get all of the different pipe sizes for the White Rhino series. So it's nice to have that. That will also, so we never had that before, and it's going to be really useful. Also with your bins. So bins, and as well as appurtenances too, if you've got those in your parts list. We could put 45 in here, I suppose. Oops. And there's all your 45 bins of different sizes, or your 100 diameters. There you go, with your different bin diameters that are available. So that's going to be useful, hopefully to a lot of you, to make the actual pressure pipes usable now, along with these new tools that Autodesk have put in, including, as you may well be aware, the pipe run capability. So I pick one of these things, move the pipe run across, all the pipes come with it. And in fact, if let's see, change that to a 90-degree bend there, or approximately 90 degree, close to 90 degrees, it will find the closest bend, and it's changed that to a 90-degree bend. So there's some good stuff that they've done with those, and it's all with 3D objects, of course. All right. Pressure pipes, those are the new things. Let's have a look at the next thing to look at. Let's have a look at the corridors. We'll change that one. Corridors. Yeah, this one, I think. It's drawing. Yep. Okay, so I've got a corridor. It's got some conditional targets to put the object viewer here, to put a retaining wall in, where it's in a large amount of fill. When it's in a small amount of fill, just stick with the batter slope. For those who've done an advanced training with me, you'll know how this works. we do this as an exercise in the advanced training. What it's also got is some little stubs for driveways being added in wherever there are these polylines being added to the drawing on a particular layer. Means that you can pick those polylines, stretch them longer or shorter. The corridors are rebuild automatic, and so it just makes those stubs longer and shorter where, dynamically, if it's on rebuild automatic. One of the things that has been added in, so if I go, well, in fact, let's just do it here. I'm on this layer that these are drawn on. The targets have been told to look for polylines on that layer. If I draw a new one, I want a new driveway stub in that area. It doesn't immediately update, and I'm pretty sure it won't do it if I do a rebuild on that. No, it doesn't. But what it will do, a little marker in here, is if I move one of these pre-existing ones just fractionally, it'll now see that. You had to go and add this in manually before, now you don't. So I could put that back where it came from and delete that one off. Oops, undo. Delete just that one off. There we go. So you do need to give one of the existing ones a nudge, but it will, any additional things that you draw on that layer, it will go and find and use. So that's pretty cool with the conditional targets. For those who haven't seen those conditional targets before, as I say, we do show you that in my advanced training, but just to show you where they are, if you want to go and have a look. Oops. It's one of the standard subassemblies. And it's generic and conditional here in the ANZ group. Down the bottom, conditional cutoff fill and conditional horizontal target. So you can build some intelligence into your corridors. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you, so that's a new little thing in 2023.0. The other new thing in 0.0, so I'm going to have a look at my corridor properties. No, begging your pardon, not corridor properties. If I go and look at my corridor surfaces here, corridor targets is what I'm thinking of. So if I edit my targets, you probably will have seen this target dialog box has changed. So that changed sort of partway through 2021, I think, or at the end of 2021. So I've now got our surfaces tab with the mandatory targets and the offset and elevation tab with our optional targets. The new thing is over in the surface tab, this thing here, where it says set all. There are set alls here, but it does it for each subassembly one at a time, which was a bit annoying. You had to go through all of them rather than the old set all button we used to have in the old dialog box. So now that they put it up in here, so I can go set all EG and all the mandatory targets will be targeted to EG. So just a new little thing there. The other new thing is if I'm setting one of my targets here, daylight minimum width, for instance. Yeah, if you're looking for daylight that can target the minimum width and maximum width targets, maximum width subassemblies for the daylights are targetable. You've now got in the width targets here the ability to filter them. So if you are not picking them off the screen, but you want to filter the ones that are being displayed, so we can stretch this up a bit. Bottom corner. There you go. So for instance, I can click on the name here. I can tick on and off the ones I want to see, or I can use the filter at the top. So if I put asterisk side asterisk, it'll find all the ones with side in there. And so I'm just seeing those in the list now if I want. So you can filter them when you've got lots of alignments, but you've named them something careful. When you want to get rid of it, stop the filter working, you can click on the filter button over here to turn it off. All right. Oh, and the other thing with corridors, just before we move on, will be, I'll just mention this one, I suppose. When you're making solids from a corridor, we might as well just do it, I suppose. Yeah, we're not bad for time. Extract corridor solids here. For taking your corridor out to Navisworks and doing your clash detections and things like that. When I do that, go to all regions, it's only one region there. This is the same dialog box that would have come up previously, but there are some new fields that can be exported. So, you know, you give them all the solids that makes, you know, tick on the ones you want, give them names, etc. as per before. But under property data here, you can put in your own user-defined property sets. So I'm not sure if I've done one of those here. User, doesn't look like I have. But there are these ones here. I think they were out before, with such things as the, begging pardon, corridor identity here. Yeah, the corridor handle, etc. So the problem was, and the thing they've changed is when you created your solids and made it, so if we go through to do that, no, I haven't done the user data, but okay, that would show up here if I made my own user property set property data set definition. You'd see that in here, and you could include it into the solids if you wanted to. I'm going to go next down here. I'm going to insert the solids into the current drawing and have a dynamic link to the corridor. So if I move the corridor, the solids would be remade. Yep, we'll use that one and go extract solids. Now, the problem was that if you then went into your corridor and split the regions, split into multiple regions, the solids would get a different handle. Now, for people doing, so there's my corridor solid. Let's just have a look in the object viewer. For people using or using certain tools in Navisworks and the like that were wanting to use that handle as a property to base, you know, colors and things on, or any other functions on. When you split the corridor in Civil 3D, it would break or change the handle of the solids, which some people complained about. It doesn't do that anymore, so that they have changed that so that the solids, the handle of the solids remains the same. So just a small change, but for those that want it, it's going to save some headaches. Okay, that's basically the corridor stuff. I believe that is new. Going to go now to Project Explorer. Project Explorer here. We're getting through them now. It's not that many more to go. So there's a little drawing here I used to, I'm going to use to have a look at Project Explorer and some of the changes. Now, for those who haven't picked up on Project Explorer, it's this button here in the Home tab of the ribbon. It won't work unless you have gone to the Autodesk account website and downloaded it. It's a little extension, free extension you can get for Civil 3D. Project Explorer is this, and it's basically looking at the database of your drawing and displaying it in a whole bunch of tables. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do. You can actually modify and change your drawing through these tables if you want. So it's dynamic to the drawing. If you pick a point or a vertex on a polyline, sorry, not a polyline, a alignment, something like that, you can change it in here rather than doing it graphically on screen, which, yes, we could do in Civil 3D through its properties before, but it's now being bundled up all together in here. A whole bunch of things you can do with it, including changing pipes over a span, a length. And I have done a webcast that includes this previously. But the new thing is for points, if I go into my points here, you can take a group of points, which I've got a group of points here shown in the background, these ones. You can compare them to other objects. Now you could do that before for things like alignments, which I've used. When, for instance, there's been a alignment drawn here, and I wanted to compare these points to it. These points might be the as-built positions of whatever that is, the edge of a road, a footpath, something like that. And you can get the offsets and find and see if there's anything out of place or too far out of place. You can do that as well now. So that would have been through this compare to, go alignments and compare it to the alignment that you want. Compare it to surfaces to see if the point is above or below a surface. That's good too. But now you can do it with feature lines as well. So that's the new thing. And I've got a feature line here drawn in green next to my points, which is my Site 1 test feature line. And what it does is next to the points in this list pane down the bottom, you scroll across to the right. Here is your compared offset, your offset from the feature line for each point, left or right, and the Z elevation difference from the closest point of the feature line. So that's pretty good. The one thing, all of this, or the rest of this, seems to be dynamic, but this particular thing isn't. So this is my point 4 here. If I move that feature line, for instance, I would have expected that to suddenly change. That's my point 4 line there. I would have expected that to be dynamic. It's actually not, which is possibly something that's going to come later on. But if I just go compare to and against that feature line again, then you'll see it's changed from 0.7 up to 1.8 now. So just be aware of that. The other thing in here that, for those who haven't seen it before, is particularly useful, is you can get reports out of this. So if you don't like the default reports that come with Civil 3D, this makes it easy to get your own custom reports using this layout down the bottom here. And there is a new thing they've added into that as well. So you can total up some of these columns, some, not all. So for instance, in the pipes, here's my pipes. You can actually set the grade across multiple pipes if you want to, which is actually something we've never had, or we didn't have previously. So we can go and tally up some of these columns. Sorry, just need to clear my throat. Okay. In the pipes tab here, for instance, we've got the listing of all the pipes in this pipe run at the moment. We've now got the ability to put in these totals of, in this case, 2D length and 3D length of all of the pipes in that pipe network. So what I can do is change that if I want to have a different values, or turn them off even. The way you do it is click on the layout down the bottom. And this is the new column in here. When you're working out what column columns and things you want displayed, we've got this thing that says show totals cell. So at the moment, the 2D length and 3D length is what's showing down here at the bottom of the panel. That's to the inside edge of each structure. I could say, you know what, I don't want that. I'm going to put that on no. And I'm going to put this one on no. But I'm going to show to the center of the structures instead, totals to those distances, if for some reason you wanted them. Personally, I think the inside edge of the structure is better, but you will need, they are off by default, all of them. So you need to go in here and turn them on when you want to see them. So doing that, go okay. Now we're getting for all the pipes, the 2D length center to center and 3D length center to center of all the pipes. Now that's okay, but we probably want this to come out into an Excel table or something like that. So we can do that now. If I right click on my Storm 1 pipe network, these are gravity pipes, as you can see up the top. And I can go quick report to file. Going to export it to an XSL Excel format, give it a name, etc. Go okay. I can change the whole report style if I want. I can choose which columns I want to report out in the layout down the bottom here. I go okay. Save it on the desktop and open it. Now in Excel, on the tab for Storm 1, and you could have all of your networks all reported out at the same time. We've got this totals line down the bottom here. For me, it's line 12. And scrolling across, we can see all the columns that could have totals and had them turned on are now reporting the totals for each one. So that was something that was asked for, and Autodesk could kindly put in for us. All right, that is as much Project Explorer as I want to get into. This is relatively new, last couple of years, so there are some good webcasts done by Autodesk up on YouTube for that, if you want to get into it more. All right, anything else I should have told you about? Oh, okay, one more thing. Oops. This is actually a rail alignment, and there is a new Cant label for those using rail stuff. So let me my alignment. Oops, my alignment. Add labels. Add alignment labels. For an alignment, there is a Cant information label there. I've made up, there isn't a style by default in the country kit yet. I've made up my own style and go add, and it just chooses a point along the alignment to put in a label. So what it's actually giving you, and you can grab that, move that away, is the applied Cant at that point, 71.73. We've got a Cant of 0 at that point, 225 at this point, and there was 71. So it can give you the Cant at a particular location along an alignment. Now, the only thing about these is they're not yet dynamic either. So there's no grip in the middle. You can just slide along, get it to change. It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't have that, even if you reposition this one. No, you can't actually reposition that one anyway. So it's not yet dynamic. I suspect it will be, but at the moment it's not. Okay, so for those doing rail, that's going to be useful. And the other thing with rail is they talk about having made some more rail catalogs. They're additional American rail catalogs for the turnouts and things. So it's probably not going to be much additional help in this part of the world. All right, couple more things left to go. Yep, we're about on time. The Grading optimization. Yeah, some small changes to that, but we might as well have a look at it. Save changes. No, I don't need to save changes for that. Grading optimization. So for those who haven't seen this before, I did do a webcast on this a while ago. I think it's been removed from YouTube now. I had a look for it a little while ago and couldn't find it. But grading optimization is in the Manage tab, is it? No, it's not. Modify it. No. Let's see. One of these tabs, I can't remember which one it is now. This will tell me where it is. Analyze tab. All right. So the Analyze tab in the ribbon. This is again is another one you need to load up as an extension to Civil 3D from the Autodesk account page. You can make some polylines and you can add them as grading objects to your drawing. This one is a property boundary area, which it's the limit of the grading changes. And the other one is like a house platform that I want a maximum slope of 2% anywhere in that area. Then you can run the grading optimization. Now there's a whole bunch of these grading objects that you can actually put in for different things, for building platforms, for curbs, and all sorts of things you can add in there. So go and have a look. This, as well as the webcast I did, there's a lot of good webcasts by Autodesk and other people up on YouTube for this, because it's pretty fancy. Because if you go optimize now, so you select the surface to optimize, and it's going to be this one. It's going to try and flatten out this depression in my surface and make it useful, change the surface basically, so that the requirements of my grading optimization will be met. So there's my current surface. I can spin this around even while it's going, and the grading areas that I've specified. And I can click the optimize button on the side here. Doing that, if I turn this on, there we go. We can see it's working out cut fills. So it's trying to minimize the cut fill, and you can see it's changing the contours here to make my grading percent slopes that I've asked it for, and positions and levels and things like that all to work. Now the new things that they put in here is this, well, actually all the stuff on the right here, which is where it's getting, or how far through the iteration it is. So mine's still progressing down here. It's getting close, and it is finding a solution likely because it's got down to the green part of this graph. First part is review needed, something didn't make sense. It's starting the iteration, and then it's likely to find a solution when it gets into the green. And also down the bottom here, as it's progressing, this progress bar down the bottom will tell you how far through it is. So if it fails, if something stops at some point, you'll be able to tell how far through the process is. So here it's just loading it up. You're starting it. It's preparing it to that point. Here it's retriangulating it to this point. Here it's doing a pre-check, and here it's actually going through. It's got to, well, pretty about to get to an optimal solution. You don't have to leave it to get to the optimal. You can hit the stop button, and then you can send the optimized result back. So the thing that it's done, we had all this before. You may not have seen it, but we have had it. It's changed my surface here, and I can export this back to Civil 3D to have a new optimized surface. It'll also take back things like the feature lines, the break lines of these changes. And that there was issues with the feature lines crossing in some places. They've apparently, the other change that they've made is they've resolved the crossing feature lines that came back, so they don't cross anymore. Haven't actually seen that happen myself, but apparently that's one of the things that people found. So I can send it back here. Oops. So here's the feature lines. It'll take those back to Civil 3D. I can create a new surface, call it improved. optimized. Let's put a different style on this one. Let's call it comps background 1 meter. You could take points back, but I don't really see why I'd want to do that. And go finish. And then it will create that new surface for you now in Civil 3D. As you can see, the different contours there. Actually, I should have put them on the design style, but you can see that they're different. And there's our feature lines come back as feature lines. Our break lines in the surface. All right, there's the few small changes in there. One other thing just before we go back, no, actually two things in the toolbox here. There is now some miscellaneous, drawing transformations. You can change the coordinate system of a drawing with Civil 3D objects in it. In fact, I think this only transforms the Civil 3D objects, not the rest of the drawing. So you'd need to do the rest of it the Map 3D way, but it will move all of these things to a different coordinate system if you want them to be. I did have problems with that crashing initially. No, I need a coordinate system for that. If I've got a drawing, I might have a drawing for this. Let me just run it to see if it's going to work. Grading optimization. Oh, I thought I did. No, I haven't got it. I thought I had one of those made. Just give me a second. Oops, we're getting close to time anyway. Drawing transform, here it is. I might just go a couple of minutes over time if that's all right. Just looking at, looks like we haven't got any questions yet anyway, so that's good. No, I don't think we have. Drawing transformations, let's see if I can just run it. There's other ones for vertical units and vertical datum transform, but if I go from one coordinate system to a different one, there we go. See if it's going to work for me today. So this is in, so that's the target coordinate system. So that's what this currently is in, I believe. I think you'll find. And if I can change, that's the 2020. So if I change it back to my, so this MGA zone 51, that's right. Yeah, zone 51, 2020. Well, there's the 94 datum of zone 51. Let's try that. And go OK. It gives you a report of what it's done. Something it didn't like, there's something drawn in the wrong place, but we'll go OK. So we're going from 2020 to 94. Yep, transform the model. And it'll give you a report. Now, I don't think it works with absolutely everything yet, which was the reason why they give you this report. So it tells you what objects it's moved, what objects more particularly it hasn't been able to move. So the fail column is the one you're looking for. That's all passed by the look of it, which is good. It tells you what it's actually done with them. So yeah, it's only working on Civil 3D objects by the look of it, which is the things that wouldn't move before with Map 3D, but now we've got this. So that's a good one for people that want to do those sorts of transformations. So that's, again, an improvement or a new add-on to 2023. Last thing is for those using Subassembly Composer, we've had these auxiliary links and points before that we could add in. There's now a thing called an auxiliary curve. Now, probably not many of you are actually using Subassembly Composer, but these are construction lines, basically. These are auxiliary lines. And now you've got an auxiliary curve for putting new points and things on a curved arc if you want to. So just a little improvement there. Again, an incremental improvement to Civil 3D 2022. And that's where we wanted to get to. So checking questions. I'm not seeing questions there at the moment. So thank you for tuning in to this webcast today. We should be bang on time according to me. If you're wanting to see future webcasts that are coming up, rather than wait for emails to come out to you, you can type that in or go to our A2K Technologies website. And up the top, and the pull down at the top for events, you'll be able to see the webcasts coming up, and you can register for them there. Any more things you want to know, just drop a line to an email out to info@a2ktechnologies.com.au, and we'll get the right person to get back in touch with you. As I say, thanks again for tuning in today. Hope you have a good end to your week and an even better weekend. See you on another one of these sometime in the future.